welcome to a Friday. I hope you have television. Looked like we had quite the crew down there. I'm not struggling, but I'm trying to figure out what this World Game is all about, just how big this thing is. Because when we started announcing this back like 7 years ago, it was kind of a joke. To be honest with you, we're like World Games. Well, I don't think people even knew what the World Games was. And now that it's here. And thank goodness for COVID, because it pushed it back a year, and we needed every bit of that year to make sure that we had the fan walk and everything with the interstates and just, I mean, anytime you get some extra time for something that is worldly, it is big. But I hope it goes well. I'm not being cynical. I think it's great. Birmingham has come leaps and bounds just over the last 10 years when you talk about the upgrades, the BJCC and Protective Life and some of the things they've done downtown, the Uptown area and Railroad Park. Kudos. Good. I hope it goes great. And I hope you get a chance to go. They said they've sold 350,000 tickets. Really? 350,000 tickets they've sold for. If that's true, kudos to Rick Journey and, of course, everyone, sellers and all those guys who have done just a bang-up job with the World Games. I hope you get a chance to go down there and check it out. It should be a lot of fun. My name is Tony Kurre. We did the Curry and Claypo show yesterday. We were talking about Elon Musk yesterday. I wanted to talk about this real quick, and I got a list of fathers here. Far be it from me to tell people how many kids to have, right? I tell the story about we had an exchange student over here from China for Thanksgiving a couple of years ago, and I was asking this kid about brothers and sisters, and obviously he doesn't have any brothers and sisters. He's like, I don't have any brothers and sisters, and he only talked to his dad like once a month, which I thought was really weird, but it's a cultural difference, and I was like, okay, if that works for you, you like that. Al Cooper, good morning to you. And so far be it from me to tell people how many kids they can have. Elon Musk has now got 9 children. He actually had a 10th that passed away early in his life, but he's got 9 children, and he was asked about it the last couple of days about how do you keep an eye on 9 different children. Obviously, you're a very successful man. You're all over the world. You have all these businesses. How is it possible? He said something I think was really interesting. He said, I think babies are super cool, and really people need to have more babies because it sounds obvious, but if we don't have more babies, humanity will disappear. He also said, right now, there's not much I can do for children. He mentioned Grimes, his girlfriend, whom he's had a couple kids, has a much bigger role than me right now. When the kids get older, there will be more of a role for me, which really kind of crystallizes, clarifies a little bit exactly where he is in his life. He obviously feels like she can do a much better job while the kids are younger, and then when they get older, then he's going to swoop in and take them to the promised land. I don't know if that works. Fathers need to be there for their kids all the time. From the minute they're born, they need to change diapers, do the whole 9 yards. And I understand that if he's a super wealthy man, a rich man, who's only 24 hours in a day, he probably can't do that. But then why are you having 9 children? So there was a great article about why men do have so many children. Yes, we're on Elon Musk again. Babies, $9 billion a piece. Bet that baby mama made her happy, yeah, no doubt. That's the other thing is, just because, we talked about this on the Curry and Claypo show yesterday, just because you have the financial fortitude and you're a billionaire doesn't mean you can have 18 kids. It doesn't mean those 18 kids are going to be healthy, because it ain't all about the money, man. Now, if you're having 9 kids, you can't afford to have any of them, shame on you. But if you're having 9 kids and you're wealthy, just because you can throw 3 or 4 nannies at each one of them, it doesn't mean that kid's going to be healthy. It doesn't mean they're not going to need therapy later on in life. Where's their mom? Where's their dad? So I went through a list, and it's the most comprehensive list I could find. And there was a great article about how a lot of men who get later in years, and Elon Musk is not that late in years, continue to have children so they can continue their lineage. It's not even an insecurity thing. It's more of a security thing for these men to know that they can still hook up with young women and they can still impregnate them, and it makes them feel good, and they're the man, which is really pathetic. And thank goodness every guy on this list is relatively rich, again, because the worst situation is when you're having kids and you can't afford them. And I think a lot of people do that now. You get married, you don't talk about how many kids you want to have. Next thing you know, you got 4, and you're up to your wahoo. It costs like $1 million a kid, in case you're wondering. Anyone out there, Clinton Prince, good morning to you. Anybody out there that's got kids knows that it's super expensive. You figure it out. So here we go. Elon Musk has 9. Mick Jagger has 8 kids with 5 different ladies. Now, we think that's kind of cool because it's Mick flippin' Jagger. Mick Jagger can have as many kids as he wants because he's a rock and roll guy, right? Rod Stewart has 8 kids with 5 different ladies. Clint Eastwood has 8 kids. Eddie Murphy has got 10 kids. Did you know that? 10 kids. Kevin Costner has 7. Alec Baldwin, who's been in the news a lot lately, he's got 8. Willie Nelson has 7. Bob Marley had 11 kids with 7 different women. It's one thing to have 11 kids with one woman, or maybe even 2, but to have 7, when you're spending as much time trying to keep your ex-wives apart than you are with your 11 kids, you got issues. B.B. King, who I brought on stage numerous times, 15 kids. He had a brood, dude. Ray Charles had 12 kids from 10 different women. Like he'd have one, he goes, okay, I'm good with you. I mean, he was leaving his footprint everywhere, man. James Brown had 9. David Gilmour of Pink Floyd, 8 kids. Don Ho, Tiny Bubbles. Well, he's in Hawaii and he's singing. He's got girls with grass skirts and stuff and upside down pineapples. He's probably been getting after it. He had 10 kids. Master P has 9 kids. DMX, 15 kids with 9 different women. I don't know. Again, you do what you want to do. And I know that, I come from a Catholic family. We had 4 children. I got 2 brothers and a sister, and 4 is like a lot back in the 60s and 70s. And I know a lot of people that just want to have as many kids as possible. They just figure, God's going to take care of it. They're going to figure out the money situation. That's fine. And again, far from me to tell you how many kids to have. But it is interesting if you hear the names of all those guys on this list, and again, those are celebrities who have got tons of kids. It does kind of lend itself to the belief that perhaps as they get older, because hell, Mick Jagger's got a 3-year-old, and the dude's 137 years old. It's crazy. All right, coming up here next, we're going to get into some more Curry and Claypo stuff. We'll do that next week. I want you to download the Tony Kurre Radio app. We got a ton of downloads over the last few days. We did the Detonation Station on the 4th of July. It was fantastic. Go to Spotify. I want you to do me a favor. Go to Spotify this morning. Search Tony Kurre Radio. It's Kurre with a K. And listen and watch all of our fantastic podcasts. We have a brand new show called Need to Know that is on with Kip Kiefer today. It's going to run at 2 and 6. We have a fantastic show called When in Rome with Stuart Rome that runs at 1 and 7. We did a brand new show yesterday. From the Woodhouse Day Spa, birmingham.woodhousespas.com, birmingham.woodhousespas.com. We also have the Damon Johnson show that goes today at noon and 8. So we got shows all day long. Tune into the Tony Kurre Radio. There you go. And Al Cooper said it's on in the office. I love that. Tune into the Tony Kurre Radio app, TKR. Go to Android, Apple, TKR, and download the app, and you can listen to all the shows fresh and live every single day. And, of course, if you miss any, go on demand to Spotify, and you can search all those shows, and it's fantastic. You'll love it. There's one other thing I wanted to get into that I think is really interesting, and I didn't realize this. We've been talking a lot about babies lately, right? Because of the Roe versus Wade thing. And I know a lot of women are now putting some, master locks on the cooch going, okay, fine. If you're not going to let me control my body, then you ain't getting in here anymore, which I get. I'm totally cool with it. I'm not happy as a man about that. And I think a lot of women, quite frankly, like to have it as much as men do. So they're probably not going to do that for very long. But I said, listen, women control the world with that. We go to war over that. We fight over that. Anytime you're in a bar and there's a bloody fight, it's because it's over a woman's cooch. I'm telling you, they rule the world with that. So if they really wanted to get together, they should have like a day of no sex or a week of no sex and see how this world would shut down. See how fast some of these men politicians would change their minds if women said, okay, you're not getting any until June or July of next year or whatever. I mean, it would be crazy, right? So evidently there's this thing called stealthing that I was not aware of. And so we're talking about, okay, if women can't have abortions and they can't do these things, then we need to obviously be there for them, help them, and maybe from a control standpoint, make sure they don't get pregnant in the first place. Well, one of those things that certainly help is prophylactics or condoms. And evidently in Australia, and this is interesting because it's not illegal here either, there's this thing called stealthing, which is really, really interesting, and that is the act of a man putting on a condom before sex and then removing it at some point during sex without the other person's knowledge. Now, I'm a guy. Guys hate condoms, but they're important. You have to have it. I've been with women that wouldn't do anything with me without one. I had some that didn't care. I had some that I had it on and they're like, you can take it off. But I never, ever had one on, let her know that I had one on, so she felt like she was protected from whatever, whether it be pregnancy, STIs, or anything else, and then take it off and not tell her. Were there times where it came off and you're like, oh my gosh, and you start freaking out? Yeah, but in the heat of passion. But this particular case, this is knowingly taking a condom off after you put it on first, and the woman doesn't know about it, and that's not illegal in the United States of America. It is illegal in California, but it's up to the jurisdiction and the individual courts in those states to declare whether that is considered a sexual assault, because it is a sexual assault. If you go into fornication, or you go into a sexual experience, intimacy, and he's telling you he's putting the condom on, you watch him put it on, maybe even help him, and then all of a sudden find out that it's gone because he took it off. And evidently this story came out of Australia. It's really interesting. In jurisdictions where there's no explicitly mentioned in litigation, it leaves it up to the courtrooms to decide whether or not it's a sexual assault or not. And what they're saying is, and this story came out of Australia because in Australia it's not illegal, but they're saying it seems crazy because there's going to be a lot of guys out there that, quite frankly, have been breaking the law and didn't even know it. And I go, bullshit. Of course you knew it. Of course you knew it. If you go into a sexual experience with a woman wearing a condom, and she knows you have a condom on, and then you knowingly take it off without her knowing it during sexual intercourse, that should be a crime. Am I missing something here? Unless she says, hey, it's fine, or maybe it's her idea to get rid of it, because we know that condoms suck. They're a pain in the ass. They're not fun, but you know what? It keeps you from having babies and getting STIs and stuff. So it's interesting. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on next week with Kurre and Claypool. I think it's really interesting. Just trying to help women and men in the United States of America through this very troubling time when it comes to sexual intimacy. All right, have yourself a wonderful day. We got all these great shows going on. Download that TKR. You're really helping me by downloading the TKR app. It's free. It only takes about 5 or 6 seconds. If you don't like it, get rid of it. We've got like 1 million 5-star reviews. People love the music we play. And of course, we got a lot of people that were listening for the first time on Monday for the Detonation Station. And I really appreciate it. It means the world to me that if you download the Tony Kurre Radio app, and then of course go to Spotify and listen to all of our fantastic shows. We have well over 200 different shows, podcasts on the Tony Kurre Radio. Have yourself a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the World Games. I may see you down there. I think I'm going to be a World Games ambassador. I'm going to be down there shaking hands, kissing babies, doing the whole 9 yards. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and God bless.